Welcome to part 4 of 7 of a short series where we are exploring each of the human gods who will be present during the events of Guild Wars 3, plus one bonus entity that I really want to talk about. Today we are diving into the most important things to know about Melandru. Melandru is maybe my favorite of the human gods, but is also one that we know very little about. She is the goddess of nature, earth, and growth, and is deeply connected to the flora and fauna of Tyria, so much so that there are legends that state that she created Tyria, but those are false. From the human gods taking their first steps in Tyria, all the way to the more recent events with Balthazar's betrayal leading up to the Path of Fire expansion, Melandru has worked with and walked alongside the other human gods. But of course, she has done her own thing throughout history as well. Being deeply connected to nature, you can find many trends related to nature connected to her, such as how the Kurzik House Lutgardis and their tree singers were primarily devoted to Melandru. One event in particular that I recently talked about is how she witnessed a tribe of godless humans led by one individual named Edwin senselessly destroying everything in their path. In retaliation, Melandru blocked them from continuing further and then punished the tribe, binding them to the land and transforming them into tree-like creatures to serve the land. Creatures that we may even see in Guild Wars 3. Very interestingly, the Quaggan goddess is called Malagan, whom the Quaggan believe to have been killed when the Crate invaded the old Quaggan homelands. Where there are some connections between Melandru and Malagan, not just in the similarity of the name, but also in how Quaggan will use sunken statues of Melandru as a shrine to Malagan. Additionally, since we don't have too much to say about Melandru, I'll talk about it here. The Norn view the human gods as spirits, in a similar fashion to the spirits of the wild, for each god represents the spirit of something, like how Balthazar is considered the spirit of war. As for Melandru, we do not know exactly what the Norn would call her, but presumably it would be something like the spirit of nature, spirit of earth, or spirit of growth. For me personally, I've always loved Melandru. In some ways, Grenth is akin to decay, while Melandru is akin to growth, and I've always loved that general concept and how it is present within Tyria. Though of course, intrinsically within nature, growth can only come from decay and vice versa, so it is in many ways all the same. As someone who just loves nature a lot, Melandru has always been a very cool character, and I truly hope we get to learn more about her in Guild Wars 3. Wish leading up to Guild Wars 3, we've actually already learned a little bit more. A recent article continued to talk about the presence of the Veil Wardens Guild in Ore, alongside the general concept of how we will be exploring Ore while it is in its golden age. Ore is described as a place where magic flowed so richly and abundantly that it drew the human gods from the mists to Tyria, a place where magic itself, unbothered by its great predators and free to do as it willed, bloomed into its freest and grandest expression, a wondrous ecosystem of magical spirits unique to this period of Tyrian history, known as the Veil, which completely, and supported by everything else we know with Guild Wars 3, truly supports the idea that the concepts of Melandru will be very important in Guild Wars 3. The Order of the Veil, the guild that we will be a part of, does trace its origin to when humanity first arrived in Ore, where we recently learned that members of the Order met with the human gods in order to try to prevent their guild from falling into ruin, where two of the human gods decided that they want to help the Order to protect the Veil, Dwayna and Melandru, where these two goddesses gifted the guild with the ability to create and refine signets, which will allow the Order to empower themselves with magic. Meaning that one of the most important plot points of the entire game, and also one of the most important mechanics, does seem to have a deep connection to not only Dwayna, but also Melandru as well. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed. I am so excited to see what role Melandru takes in Guild Wars 3, and hopefully it is something very cool. I've always loved this character, but always wished we knew more, and Guild Wars 3 is the perfect opportunity for this. I hope you all are taking great care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.